Here's what's coming up for me. This is what's being presented to me lately, and I want your thoughts on it.
Okay, all right. I got thoughts.
Giving it up to God. It is. I know. If I'm going to drop some shit, we're going to drop some shit.
Okay.
I've seen that a couple times lately, and I like the idea of it. I mean, it's come up where I've seen people very, very frame that around Christianity.
Okay.
That's not how I was raised, but giving up to a God power, giving up to the universe, giving up to the source. Like there is really something to that.
Yes.
Like that's like I kind of feel like that may be the answer to everything.
Not only do I agree with that sentiment wholly, I actually just had an experience last night. I was driving home from my friend's place, and I was going through trying to understand why I'm still holding on to an ex-partner who is very not good for me at all. But there was this thing that I kept, why would I keep going back to that? Why did I feel any type of connection there? And I realized it's because I had this belief that things would go back to the way they once were. And then I asked myself the next question, which was, is that why I'm holding on to all these memories, whether they're good or bad, in my opinion? I'm still holding on to all these memories that elicit very intense emotions that I still have today, which led me then to understand that that is the armor that I am now wearing, moving on to these next phases in my life. I'm holding on to these memories, whether they're good or bad, in a way to kind of mitigate any damage that would come up from here on out. And then I realized, well, that's going to literally block everything new that could come, right? And then I had that feeling of, well, I just got to give it. I just can't hold it. I got to give it to God. And I had a conversation with him. It was just he and I in the car. And immediately after, I felt this sense of, oh my God, like, it was never, I'm looking at it as I had this belief in things could go back to the way they were because I didn't believe in myself enough to understand that I am ready for anything that God or the universe has to offer me. And I wouldn't have got there unless I said, I give this up to you. I want to know why it is the way it is. Boom, epiphany happened. And, but I'm always open to it. I think a lot of people may not be, they're not as open to it. With God comes a lot of judgment. You know how it goes.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't look at, like, I've come to, and we've talked about this on the radio show, like, I'm better with the term God than I was, say, 5 years ago. But I see it as an energy. I see it as a God energy. I see it as, whether we call this source, intuition, higher power, universe, whatever, but, like, there's a surrender to that power, to that wisdom that I think is very real.
Yes.
And even though I can't quote the Bible, I feel like I've even in my own prayers and meditations lately just been way more in using like, all right, God, this is
see what you
like,
got.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, and there's an interesting calming that it has come about in the belief and the actual like I'm going to give it up to God, but there's all these other things. It's like no, there's no I'm giving it up to God, but it's just I'm giving it up to God. Period.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens.
Because I think that when anybody gets to a place where they're fully giving it up to God, that comes with the acceptance of you're not going to get anything from God or the universe that you're not capable of handling. So that comes great power and great belief in understanding who you are in any situation moving forward, because you know that you're capable of so much more and your potential is so much more, and you'll receive these situations where you might feel they're unfair, overwhelming, or like you're just getting the shit end of the stick every time. But the reality is he's giving you that, the universe is giving you that to push your beliefs, to break you out of these beliefs of, well, this is where I belong here, and I'm not capable of growing as a person. Like for me it was, I had the realization where my armor is keeping me here, and to grow further, I have to get rid of all that. I have to go into the future and understanding that I don't need that armor. I don't need all these past experiences because I am who I am, and I am divine, you are divine. Everybody has that divine spark, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. This is totally up to the individual. But once you acknowledge that you are just as much of a God as God he himself is, because the universe is just experiencing itself from infinite number of perspectives, you go, oh my God, duh. No matter what happens to me, it's supposed to happen this way, and I can overcome and change any situation that I'm experiencing into whatever I want. But I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to create that until I understand that the first step is surrendering to the higher power.